Did you know that your kitchen is already stocked with tons of foods that your baby can safely eat? You do not need to go out and buy expensive baby foods. You already have simple solutions in your home right now. In this video, I'll show you how you can make the real foods that you already have on hand, but make them safe for your baby who is starting solid foods. And if you're wondering whether babies can have seasoning and spices on their food, we're going to cover that too, along with the two ingredients that you definitely want to steer clear of for early eaters. Hi, I'm Katie Ferraro. I'm a registered dietitian and mom of 7. I specialize in infant feeding and baby-led weaning. And one of the benefits of baby-led weaning is that you do not need to go out and buy special baby foods. With baby-led weaning, your baby learns to eat the safe, age-appropriate finger foods that you are preparing. But what does that mean and what do those look like? Like, which actual foods can your baby eat? In my program, Baby-Led Weaning with Katie Ferraro, I walk parents through the pantry planning and grocery shopping tips that are going to help them succeed as their baby learns how to self-feed. And I want to share some of the ideas on canned foods and dry goods and other ingredients that are already in your kitchen that we can put into action in this program. So let's take a look. When selecting shelf-stable items for baby-led weaning, look for as low a sodium as possible and with no added sugars. General rule of thumb for label reading is that I'm okay feeding my baby a food that has less than 100 milligrams of sodium per serving. Now, most foods that we offer babies are not from packages, and babies eat less than adult portion sizes, so I'm comfortable with that less than 100 milligram sodium level. As for added sugars, the American Academy of Pediatrics says no added sugars for babies from food or drinks until age 2. One of the keys to success for helping your baby safely eat 100 foods before turning 1 is not to make things harder than they have to be. We're not cooking elaborate recipes for your baby here in phase 1 of baby-led weaning. It's just the first 8 weeks of starting solid foods. You're going to rely on fresh foods, canned goods, dry foods, even frozen items, okay, provided that they don't have any extra sugars or sodium. We don't want anything so spicy that it could hurt your baby. So let's start with canned goods. Canned foods can be a very nutritious and affordable option when it comes to offering some of the different foods on my 100 First Foods list. Now, you might think of canned vegetables as being like super salty and soggy, and yeah, those certainly exist, but you can find low salt and no salt canned versions of many of the ingredients that you're gonna be looking for your baby. So ideally, we're gonna look for canned goods that have less than 100 milligrams of sodium per serving. If you can't find something that's that low in salt, you can always rinse your canned goods under the running faucet, which is thought to reduce sodium levels by about 30%. So some of my favorite canned goods for baby-led weaning are vegetables, like artichoke hearts packed in water. I love beets, green beans, pumpkin. Canned pumpkin is so wonderful, especially during the parts of the year when you can't find fresh pumpkin. You just always want to make sure that you're getting canned pumpkin and not canned pumpkin pie mix. Okay, that has added sugar. For canned beets, it's way easier to open a can of unsalted beets than it is to pressure cook or roast your own beets for hours, okay? Although I'm gonna show you how to do that in the 100 First Foods content library video under beets if you want, but I love canned beets. Canned fruit, that's another wonderful part of the canned food aisle, okay? Especially when fresh fruit options might not be available to you. I particularly like canned pineapple, canned pears, canned peaches. We wanna look for those packed in water or their own 100% juice, okay? We don't want canned fruits that are packed in syrup. Even light or extra light syrup has added sugar. So for pineapple, I love the canned pineapple rings that you can just cut into half moons and they make the perfect size for your baby to pick up and self-feed. Canned peaches and pears, also packed in water or juice, are great, but they're slippery. So you can roll them in other ingredients that help give your baby some traction as well as a little bit of extra iron. Makes it easier for them to pick up. One of the ones I love is toasted wheat germ to roll canned peaches or pears in. Unsweetened applesauce is nice to have on hand too, because you're going to be mixing some of the stickier items like tahini, sesame seed paste, or nut butters like peanut or almond butter. You're going to mix those in order to thin them out. Your applesauce, just heads up, it might not say unsweetened on the label, but as long as the only ingredients are apples and some vitamin C to prevent browning, if it says 0 grams of added sugar on the label, that one's fine for your baby to eat. Canned seafood is another wonderful option for baby-led weaning. You might not have access to fresh fish or shellfish, depending upon where you live, or you might not feel inclined to buy it and prep it from scratch. Things like canned clams and crab and sardines and other shellfish can be found with minimal added salt. I just want you to keep in mind, though, that seafoods are high in minerals, okay? And sodium is a mineral. So sometimes the sodium level in those foods is going to be higher than you would normally get for your baby. But as long as the word sodium or salt isn't in the ingredient list, then it means that the sodium in that product is naturally occurring. And fine with that for babies, because in that instance, we're interested in getting that potentially allergenic protein, either the fin fish or the shellfish, into the baby. It's okay to ease up on the strict sodium requirements in exchange. Legumes are dried peas and beans, and they're wonderful foods for babies as they're packed with plant protein and fiber and iron. So there's 20 protein foods on the 100 first foods list. 10 are animal foods, like meats, and 10 are plant foods, mostly legumes. There's a lot of beans in this program, and for good reason, because the dried peas and beans in legume family, they're packed with nutrition. Also, you try finding 10 sources of plant protein that aren't mostly all beans. Beans are most of the plant protein, okay? Cooked or canned beans are small in size, okay? And your early eater who's in phase 1 of baby-led weaning, they can't pick them up, okay? Because they don't have their pincer grasp yet. That's usually going to happen by about 9 or 10 months of age. Because some of those small legumes are the exact size that could potentially occlude your baby's airway, I recommend that you smash canned legumes with your thumb to flatten them, at least until your baby is 1, or even longer if you feel you need to. A lot of the phase 1 recipes for baby-led weaning in the 100 First Foods content library, they feature recipes or preparation methods that show you how to safely cook and mash or incorporate soft cooked beans into other recipes. There's things like burgers and fritters. And then you cut those into individual pieces about the size of your adult pinky finger and offer it to your baby. Okay, a lot of these recipes, just heads up, they use egg as a binder. Okay, so although it doesn't really matter what order you introduce the allergenic foods in, you don't have a preference, I would bump egg to the top of the list so that you can ensure your baby does not have an egg allergy after you offer egg a number of times on its own. And then you're free to use eggs as a binding agent in all of these fritter and bean burger recipes. Always look for the no added salt or the lowest salt canned legumes if you're using them. For canned garbanzo beans, flip the bean out of the skin and flatten them with your thumb. You certainly can find more varieties of no added salt canned beans that work great for baby-led weaning, but a few of my favorite are things like black beans, garbanzo beans, kidney beans, pinto beans. There are some dry goods that are pantry staples for baby-led weaning. We'll use very soft cooked pasta as a way to introduce the potentially allergenic food wheat to your baby, like those longer adult pinky size shaped pastas for baby-led weaning. Things like penne and rigatone and cavatappi work well. Panko refers to Japanese-style breadcrumbs that are lower in sodium than regular breadcrumbs. Be sure to read your labels. Okay, there's also some higher sodium panko products out there. Okay, but we use panko a lot as an ingredient in fritters. It kind of sucks the moisture out of some of the other wetter ingredients, and it keeps your fritters from all falling apart. There are a whole list of grains in the starches section of the 100 First Foods list. Some of these whole grains you may not have heard of. Okay, you may need to order them ahead of time. I like to get my whole grains from Bob's Red Mill. They either do direct from one of their retailers or on Amazon. Okay, you're gonna need a few basic baking ingredients too. As your baby gets a little more proficient in self-feeding, you're gonna feel way more adventurous and you're gonna try out some of the recipes in this program. We've got wheat germ banana bread or kidney bean pie recipes, and those have your standard baking ingredients. If you're following the 100 First Foods daily meal plan, there's a grocery list that accompanies each week, so you're gonna know which ingredients to have on hand. Okay, you're gonna go out and grab them if you don't have them yet. There are a few other random pantry staples that you'll find yourself leaning on as you move with your baby through all of these 100 First Foods. Broth is a big one, okay, because broth adds moisture to the soft shreddable strips of meat that you'll be serving your baby. So while prepared broth is typically high in salt, you can find low salt or no added salt broth, usually in boxes at your store. I'm gonna show you how to make your own chicken broth at home too, which is cheaper, but having some extra no salt boxed broth on hand helps make swallowing safer, and you'll see it's used kind of a lot in this program. Dried fruits show up a few times in the program, and while sticky dried fruits on their own are a choking hazard, I'm going to show you how to make a homemade prune puree, which works great for constipation. Plus, some of the dried fruits are really impressive with regards to their iron content, so we'll be working them into your baby's rotation as well. Coconut milk is another great pantry staple. This can also be called just coconut cream. Just make sure there's no added sugar. Coconut milk is a thick liquid, so it makes it ideal for open cup practice. Coconut milk is also high in fat. Baby needs that fat for their still developing brain, so you're going to see it pop up quite a bit in some of the program recipes. Unseasoned rice vinegar is another way to impart flavor without sodium. We want your baby to experience a range of flavors, and getting some unseasoned, unsalted vinegar in along with these new foods is helpful. We'll also be using tahini as a way to introduce your baby to the potentially allergenic food sesame. Tahini is just sesame paste, and you've likely had tahini as an ingredient in hummus, but the hummus that you buy at the store, too high in salt for babies. So we're going to be making a few variations of homemade hummus using different types of canned or cooked beans. So you'll see tahini in there too. So chia seed and flaxseed are not on the 100 First Foods list, and for no particular reason. Okay, these are definitely foods your baby can eat, but for families who have babies who can't eat egg, either because they have an egg allergy or if they're vegan, you can do a chia or flaxseed substitute for egg in most recipes. To do this, you take 1 tablespoon of chia seed or flaxseed and mix it with 3 tablespoons of water. Stir that with your fork or whisk it, and then let it sit for about 10 minutes until it gelatinizes and becomes close to the consistency of egg white. So that will equate to 1 egg in recipes. Cooking oil is the last miscellaneous item. You'll note that the recipes call for the cooking oil of your choice. I particularly love avocado oil for baby-led weaning, as it has a high smoke point and it doesn't burn when you're frying fritters. Also, avocado oil has a very mild flavor profile. It doesn't overpower the food flavors. It's got a great fatty acid profile, consists of primarily unsaturated or heart-healthy fats. But whatever oil you use in your home for cooking is going to be fine for your baby. So 2 videos back, we looked at how to season your baby's food without salt. And you learned that babies do not have to eat bland food. Your baby has already been exposed to a multitude of flavor compounds, whether that was in utero, as material food flavors, they were transferred via amniotic fluid, or when you were breastfeeding, okay, because flavor compounds transfer via breast milk too. But please feel free to utilize all of the spices and seasonings in your spice cabinet at home. I provide seasoning suggestions for each of the foods in the 100 First Foods content library section of this program, and don't be shy about seasoning your baby's food. Some seasoning mixes do have added salt, so just read your ingredient list and steer clear of those. The single isolated spices tend to be salt-free, but they do expire, so you'll want to check those dates too. It should not cost a lot of money to help your baby learn how to eat and love real food. Sure, you can go waste a ton of money on processed baby foods and liquefied pouches, but those do not help your baby with the full sensory experience that is learning how to eat. Okay, your baby needs to feel the food and touch the food and smash it around and sniff it, experience different foods and flavors and tastes and textures. And if you do this when that all-important flavor window is open, so this is the period of time where your baby will like and accept a wide variety of foods, that is how you help your baby build a foundational love of real food that will serve them well for the rest of their life. Because babies can eat so many more foods than we give them credit for. And if you're looking for step-by-step instructions on how to start solid foods safely with baby-led weaning, my comprehensive online program is called Baby-Led Weaning with Katie Ferraro, and it's the solution for you. This is an expert-led, proven approach to help your baby learn to eat real food. The program is packed with video trainings to help you master baby-led weaning, along with meal plans, feeding schedule, shopping lists, recipes, videos, and instructions for preparing over 100 safe baby-led weaning foods for your baby's current age and stage. When you join the Baby-Led Weaning with Katie Ferraro program, you also get access to my 100 First Foods daily meal plan so that you will never have to worry about which food to feed your baby next. You can sign up and get started today at babyledweaning.co/program or check out the link in the video description to learn more, and happy feeding.